Let's get to Triple H and the marks. On the word, sorry, Triple H versus marks, which I'm sure he once again condescendingly would call people. On the word pivot being used on the internet. One thing that, this is the quote from Triple H, one thing that Killer Kowalski said to me in the very beginning is, you effing work them. They don't work you, the fans. You tell them where it goes. They don't tell you where it goes. You listen to them. You adjust accordingly. You try to think where they will go emotionally. But, excuse me, I need to burp. But at the end of the day, we work them. This is, to me, where it gets fun. Look, nobody's perfect, right? At the end of the day, you start to do some things, and if it's not working, you go different directions or whatever it is. You pivot. Maybe you don't. That's the new word in the internet now, pivot. You've got to pivot. We don't like it. You have to pivot. No, we don't. You don't know where it's effing going. There's no pivot that needs to happen because we know where it's going. Do you know where it's going?
Well, apparently in the last month or so, it went from The Rock back to Cody. He was supposed to get it anyway. They had to pivot. They had to change plans.
Hey, do you remember that Ari Emanuel call to The Rock? The Elimination Chamber, we're not selling tickets, even though we are selling tickets for some reason. Don't know why he'd lie about that. But and they were selling out well. But it's like, we need to pivot. You need to turn up. You need to make this the next few TVs or send videos in to create a story, to build up interest into the Elimination Chamber. That's a pivot right there.
Yes, it is. So, but we're doing damage control here. And I think when he went on the Pat McAfee show, he had the whole show basically. Yeah. And he can tell all his stuff. And how many people watch that Pat McAfee show? It's a pretty well-watched show, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a YouTube show, but it's well into the hundreds of thousands just for the full episode. So all the clips, goodness knows how well they've done. But yeah, it got a lot of play, all those quotes, I'll tell you. But the thing is, like, between Triple H before WrestleMania and The Rock afterwards, they're both so defensive on the creative aspects. It's like, if you have to be that defensive, maybe you're wrong.
Yeah, if you're too defensive, I think it defeats the purpose. This is supposed to be a fun business. And the people sit back and say, they're going to do this and they're going to do that. But if they're going online and telling the fans what was scheduled to happen, and I don't even think they know what was supposed to happen, to tell you the truth. And who made the call and why was it so clunky? I mean, they have agents back there in that dressing room that could piece it together. They used to have Arn Anderson that could piece that stuff together. Cody learned a lot of what he knows from Arn. So Cody should have known. And I don't know why he didn't speak up. He's one of the players in it. Why he didn't say something about it. Mm-hmm. Because if I can watch it and regular fans can watch it and say, they might not know exactly what was wrong with it, but it was just off and off quite a bit. And I don't think the people were stunned. They were saying, are you that stupid, really, to think we're going to buy that? And I mean, WrestleMania is going to do a hell of a house. And now Netflix is they already got their money. They're not depending on people buying tickets to make money. They're making money going in. All they got to do is plan the event. But now I think they're trying to outthink themselves, and this won't kill WWE. It's just a sticking point. But let's see. But that's why I can't stop saying this. They can do big botches like this, and still 6 months down the road, nobody ever talks about it. A few people will, but then it just goes by the wayside, and let's see what you got coming up. And that's the way wrestling fans are.
So one more quote on believing bad guys need to be justified. Quotes some of the things, this is Triple H again, some of the things we try to do now, a lot of it in our creative. I've always believed that bad guys have to be justified. Might be some effed up reasoning, their way of looking at it is really warped, but they got to be justified. They can't just do, why are you doing that? Because I'm the bad guy. But here's the thing. John Cena gave a justification for why he turned bad guy, but ultimately, everybody was waiting for the real reason. And the real reason was that The Rock offered John Cena something.
That's the most simplest way to put it.
Yeah.
Because this all changed when The Rock came around, and when he did this to Cena. Well, we knew there was a partnership. There was a connection between those two. But The Rock, he didn't reinforce it leading up to WrestleMania. He wasn't at WrestleMania. He wasn't at Raw. So it really hasn't been explained. And I think at this point, The Rock needs to explain it and make it make sense. And I think, and he could do it if he'd go out there and do it. And I think he has to do something to Cody again, though.
There was one bit last year. I think it was Bad Blood. They actually switched the match type around. Who was going to be in the main event to accommodate The Rock just randomly turning back up. And if memory serves me right, he walked out at the end. He held up like 3 fingers, I think, and then walked back again. Didn't say anything. That was the end to the pay-per-view. And then he wasn't seen again for like 4 months or 5 months or something. Mm-hmm. And then when he did the throat cut thing with John Cena, he then held up, I think, 2 fingers. So everybody, Elimination Chamber, so everybody was like, oh my God, this is long-term storytelling. But the more you look back on it, it all seemed to be retconned. It all seemed to just be, oh, well, we sort of looked into maybe some kind of story there that we're going to pretend there was the plan all along. But like the more both Triple H and The Rock talk, the more I think it's almost chaos theory, and they're trying to tie everything together rather than having a long-term plan.
But if it was chaos there, don't you think we'd be hearing more about it?
I think they're getting good at hiding some of the issues, in the back and sort of plugging the leaks. But I want to ask you this. Do you think there's a power struggle between Triple H and The Rock?
Well, that's the first thing I thought. Because that's more interesting than what they're doing in the ring. Who has control of WWE? Is it The Rock or is it Triple H? Now, there's recently been talk that Triple H is on his way out. Now, I don't see that at all. I really don't. I think, and we've seen Stephanie lately, and she's doing some TV show of her own. I think that's to give her something to do. But we will wait and see. I've read this stuff. How true it is, I don't know, which is the world of wrestling. Let's see what's really up and what's really true and what's really bullshit.
Yeah, there was an in-ring interview that Triple H, or more of a monologue that Triple H did, and a lot of people pointed towards him, a veiled shot at The Rock, and this was a few months ago, and he had Nick Aldis on one side of him, and he had Adam Pearce on the other side of him. And for the life of me, I can't find the video. Oh, hang on. No, I can't find the video at the moment, but that seemed like there was definitely some sort of power struggle that somehow played onto TV in a veiled kind of way. And now, subliminal. It wasn't even that. It seemed quite thin.
That's a good word, right?
It was a good word.
Well, they just showed the picture, and you think about it what you will. There is a lot of stuff for them to work with, but it's not big stuff. It's the little stuff. But we'll see where they go with it. Hey, our job is to kind of critique it and say whether we liked it or not.
Speculate.
That's a good word.